Hey everybody, I'm Margaret. I'm a program manager at Morningstar. And a little while ago, I used to say I'm not technical, but that's a lie. And today, I just want to talk about the word technical. So who here is technical? Good, lots of hands. We just had lunch. Who here can use a fork? Yeah, all right. That difference in hands is what I want to talk about. The word technical without context is a useless gatekeeper. So I started in marketing, and I worked for a technical company on AWS, and I thought being non-technical would help me stay at that 10,000-foot view. But I got more involved, and I started organizing the AWS user group community and meeting guys like this, and they just assumed I wasn't technical, so challenge accepted. I decided to be a technical marketer, and the place I started was with our documentation. They were giant files, big PDFs that weren't searchable, and they just weren't helpful. So I started going through them and kind of learning as I went. Luckily, the guy who sat behind me was our head of engineering, and he was a little bored. So together, we created online, searchable, and version-controlled documentation. He helped me learn Git and the command line, and I was able to dig a little bit deeper into AWS and kind of be able to talk about the thing that I led in the user group. So through all of this, I realized that documentation should come from a place of empathy. I wanted to help people use our product, understand it, and buy it, ultimately. And it really shouldn't matter if you're technical or not. Documentation should be clear. I also realized, here's a pro tip, good documentation is good marketing. We had a lot of customers find us because they were searching for all of their problems but didn't know the name of their solution. I also joined DevOps Days Chicago as an organizer about the same time. You should come in August. Oh, our CFP closes tomorrow. So I was interested just to join this group, and I was so shocked by how my fellow organizers treated me as a newcomer. People who were much busier than me taught me how to do Git and push things correctly to the website, and they gave me full access from day one. So I was like, wow, this is how a great, open, and inclusive community is run. So it made me think about the AWS user group community I was running, and I wanted to put all of that into action. So the place I started was documentation. I realized I was writing the same email over and over. Yeah, to quote Amazon, I wanted to drink my own champagne. It's a really obnoxious saying. So I wanted to use these AWS skills and the DevOps kind of ethos all together for the AWS user group. I wanted to hear some feedback from what they wanted to hear about. I also wanted to be able to share thoughts with them and for people to interact directly. I realized I was writing that same email over and over. It should just be an FAQ page. So now we have a static S3-based website with a FAQ section, code of conduct, forms to submit talk ideas, and a giant red button that says join our Slack so people can interact directly with each other. So being on both sides of that knowledge gap, I realized that good documentation is a great way to break down silos. I believe I was able to break down the silos even within myself, to call myself technical, because it was just writing, it wasn't technical. But the documentation was the way I was able to learn, and it was a great way for other people to teach and give back. So the great thing about documentation is you don't have to be in the same room as someone to learn from them. It's great for distributed cultures these days. And I have a theory that anytime someone says, this is going to be a learning opportunity, that's code for this is gonna suck. So instead of making people repeat the sucky process, let's document it and make it easier for the next person, and then together we can collaborate and tackle something more exciting, hopefully. So good documentation has the hallmarks of a good community. When you're open and inclusive, people can collaborate and you can continuously improve together. I went faster than I thought. So thanks. I'm Margaret. Soon will be my contact info. And let's talk about documentation, AWS, the Cubs, and Javi Baez. Thank you.